Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a little follow-up to the video I uploaded last Tuesday, in which I tried the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I started thinking afterwards that this would pair really nicely with another Huda palette that I own, which is the Jaguar mini palette. This was the last mini series that she released a couple of months ago. So in case you haven't seen it, this is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. And then this is the Jaguar palette. And I feel like everything that may be missing in this palette can be found in this one. So there's some overlap, of course. I don't need every shade out of the mini palette. But there is, for instance, a nice black in this one. And there's also a light cream shade to blend out some other shades in the other palette. And there are some grayish tones and some lavenders that might really pair well with this bigger palette. I don't think the Rose Quartz palette needs to be paired with anything. For me it's a standalone, but I thought it'd be fun to just combine the two and see what kind of look I can come up with. So we're going to do a full face today, and real quick before we get started, I want to thank you so much for clicking on my video. My name is Cecile, I'm 28 years old, I live in the Netherlands, and I try to upload 2 to 3 times a week with makeup related content. I'm also on Instagram, and my handle will be linked down below, and I'll also put it here on screen. So if you like this video and if you'd like to see more, then please consider subscribing. And now let's get into the video. So as you can see, I already primed my eyes. I used the Glamlight Icing Primer in the shade Classic Vanilla, and I already fluffed up my eyebrows using the Anastasia Brow Freeze. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. So I'll zoom you in a little bit more. Shall we do like this? And now let me figure out what I'm going to do. So I feel like this little palette sort of matches really well with the vibes of the Rose Quartz palette. So they're both cool toned, they both have this little bit more purpley undertone. Of course this one is a little bit more deep and also has this gold, so they're definitely different, but I want to see what I can come up with. So I definitely want to use the black one in this one. I want to do a bit of a dramatic eye today. So I wanted to deepen up Mantra, the deepest shade in Rose Quartz, using this black. And then I kind of feel like using one of these silvers. So maybe this one, or go with this purpley shimmery top coat. That could also be beautiful. So that's what I'm going to use the mini palette for. Everything else I'm going to do with the big palette. So let me get a small brush. So I'm going to take my small Too Faced pencil brush, and I'm going into the shade Mantra, which is this deep shade. And I'm going to put that in the outer corner. Don't get me wrong, this shade is pretty deep. Like I said, I don't need a black. It's just that I like to deepen things up as much as possible when I'm going for a very dramatic look. So Tuesday I did a halo eye. That's not what I'm going to do today. Today I'm just going to do more of a classic, maybe a festive look. I'm also going to put this in the outer corner of the lower lash line. So I think this is the shape I want. So I think the basic shapes are down. I kind of want to keep it like this, a little bit more rounded. I usually take it a little more pointy, but I like it like this. So now I'm going to deepen this up using the black from the Wild Jaguar palette with the same brush. And I'm going to just put this right there in the outer corner. See, it does deepen up a little bit more. And I feel like this is a good black. See, I just deepened everything up a little bit more. So now I need to blend out the Mantra shade. There are a lot of similar shades in this combination, I must say. So I wanted to use this shade over here But I could also use this one. This is what they look like next to each other. They're practically the same shade. Well, because the quality is just a little bit better, I'm going into the one from the Rose Quartz palette. And I'm going to take this, what's this called? The angled crease brush from Essence. And I'm going into the shade Precious from the Rose Quartz palette. And I'm just going to blend out that mantra shade. And I stopped the deepest shade right over here, but I'm bringing this one in all the way. And once there's almost nothing on the brush, I blend out underneath my brow bone as well. I know most people like to make this part a little bit brighter, but I feel like when you're doing a very dark eye, it's prettier to keep it a little bit darker, but blend it out very well. I feel like this side is a lot more successful than this side. What do you think? This one is better blended. Just going to take my finger, take off a little bit of pigment, and that's a lot better. I'm also putting this underneath the lower lash line, by the way. And since I am starting with my eyes, I'm probably going to go over that once I've added my concealer. But now I just want the full picture. Nice, smoky, very good. I feel like the darker shades are nicely blended into the lighter shades. So I think it's time to add some shimmer. I'm going to use Blissful, which is this shade over here. And with my finger, I'm just going to add that all over the lid. Tapping it into the deeper shade. This is such a beautiful color. And this is without a wet brush or without any glitter glue. That's just stunning. Alright, now I'm taking a flat shader brush and I'm going to use that for the lower lash line. And I'm going into this palette and I want to use the middle shade, which is a beautiful baked shade, Baked Chalet. I'm just going to put this right there. And now the fun thing is, I feel like you could get a very similar look with only this palette, but this one lacks an inner corner shade. And the Rose Quartz palette does have one. So I'm taking my other pencil brush from Boozy Shop and I'm going into the shade Self Love, which is this one. And I'm going to focus it primarily on the white part of the pan. And I know this is a light pink shade. And I'm just going to put that in the inner corner, and that's beautiful. And I think that's it for the eyeshadow. I'm just going to go back with this angled brush one last time. Make sure the shimmers are nicely blended, but this is beautiful. I really had a lot of fun combining these two palettes. I don't think it's necessary, but they do pair really well together and you do get a lot of options that way. So now let me add some mascara and stuff that's not that interesting, clean up my face, and then we'll come back and do the face together. I'm back. I finished up my eyes. I used the Essence Lash Princess mascara and also their black eyeliner, and I used these lashes from Boozy Shop in the style Sarah Marique Lash-tastic. This one wants to leave my inner corner just a little bit, but they're really nice and dramatic and I thought they would match the look very well. I'm still not an expert in putting on lashes, but it is going better. So yeah, I'll just keep practicing, but I thought these would really elevate the look. So I cleaned up my face. Now let's go into some face makeup. For foundation, I really want to use the Huda Glowish again. I used it the other day in combination with a more dramatic look, and I really like the way that came out. For some reason, this is just a very glamorous foundation. It's really not just a skin tint. So I'm just taking my foundation brush and I'm applying a generous amount. For some reason, even though this is a very glowy product. People don't find it too glowy, and I have some very critical people around me. My parents and my boyfriend can be really critical about highlighter. Not that they say I shouldn't wear it or something, but it's just that they make known that they hate it. They hate it when I put on too much highlighter. But for some reason, whenever I wear this foundation, and I even add a little bit of highlighter on top, but no one finds it too much. They all find it kind of pretty. And I agree, I also find it very pretty. So ever since this came out, it's been a favorite of mine, and I expected it to be less of a favorite in the fall winter time, but I really have been wearing it quite a lot lately. Maybe it's also the fact that this one is a little bit dark on me. You can see here, I'm not going too low because of my sweater. It's a little bit deeper than my neck, but for my face it works. It kind of looks nice. Especially once I've added my concealer, the whole thing will really come together. So continuing on with concealer, I'm going into my Pat McGrath one. By the way, I have the Huda in the shade Fair, which is the lightest shade. And I have the Pat McGrath concealer in the shade L1, which is also the lightest shade. And recently I've stopped putting concealer over here because I feel like once I add my bronzer, this place is highlighted enough. It doesn't need additional brightening because it'll just look a little bit stark. So as you can see, this brightens up the center of my face a little bit, making the foundation look beautiful, natural, not too dark. So once I've blended out most of it with my brush, I'm going in with a blending sponge, which I use dry, but it only works when you have a pretty soft blending sponge. And then finally, I'm also taking my finger just to go around the edges of the eyeshadow. For some reason, the sponge and the brush, even though they're small enough, they just don't give me this beautiful blended effect that the fingers do. So now it's time to do a little bit of sculpting, and I'm going to use my Fenty Beauty Cream bronzer in the shade Amber. This is the contour shade. And I'm using this small Real Techniques contour brush. I'm getting a pretty significant dip in this one. I use it quite a lot. And I don't always use it in combination with a bronzer. I know it's a very cool tone shade, so it's not like it bronzes my face at all. But sometimes I don't really want a bronze effect. When I have this cool toned festive eye, sometimes contour is really what I want and not bronze. But we'll see once I add my powder what I think. So I'm just placing it down first, not blending it out too much. I'm also adding a little bit here at my temple, sides of the face, just a little bit here. And I also like using this on the nose. I don't contour very precisely, but I do it strategically. And then I'm also going to do my chin because this product is perfect for that. So now that I've hit all the places, my brush is pretty much empty. I'm going to go over all the edges. And then I'm taking my sponge again to really make everything seamless. And there! Perfectly contoured face. The sponge actually acts kind of as an eraser. So I went a little bit too low here. Just take my sponge. And it's perfect. So I don't feel like wearing any cream blush or highlighter, so I'm now going into my powder right now. And for powder, I want to use my Gucci powder. This is a beautiful, little bit full coverage powder. At least it's not like a full foundation, but like for powder it's full. And I usually use it with the little applicator that comes underneath, but I'm going to use my brush now for, I want a little bit of a lighter application. Just making sure my under eyes are nice and creaseless. This is a pretty mattifying powder, but it's also very smoothing. So I do really love this. But since I used the very glowy foundation, I don't want to cover all of it up. I want to keep it a little bit more precise. I am doing a little bit on the top of my lip, just because I get a little bit sweaty. So I'm controlling myself and I'm keeping it at this, which I think is just about right. But if you really pack on this powder, everything becomes super smooth and super poreless. So we finished pretty much everything. I'm going to add a little bit of blush, and I'm going to give my Pat McGrath blush another chance. I combined it the other day with my Makeup Revolution highlighter, which is very pink, almost purpley pink. And my boyfriend said my cheeks looked kind of blue. So I thought it was the blush. And I would really like to use my Chanel blush because I really love that one. And I'm not sure about this one yet, but I want to give it another chance. So I'm just taking a blush brush. This is in the shade Flirtatious, by the way. And I'm just going to add a little bit on my cheeks. See, it is very cool toned. And for some reason it's very bright on me. On other people it looked a lot more subtle. And like it was a very angelic flush. But on me it almost looks like a blue kind of mauve. Or like a gray. I'm not sure about this one. Let me know what you think. I think I'm going to go over with this powder brush with nothing on it. That does make it a lot better. So now I have to pick a different highlighter, and I've been really falling back in love with the Dior highlighter lately. So that's the one I'm going to use today. It's this classic Dior highlighter in this packaging, not the new one. I have this shade, which is called, oh, it's just called number 2, but I think it's called something with pink. And I found that this highlighter is a lot more subtle and sophisticated than the Makeup Revolution one. And it's also not as heavily pink purple, so I figured it would probably be a better match for the blush, and I gotta say I like this combination. Alright, the blush is sort of redeemed. I'm not fully in love yet, but I don't hate it like this. So now the question is, do we need bronzer? What do you think? I don't think we do. I kind of like the whole cool toned vibe. I don't want to mess it up by adding a too warm toned bronzer. So I think I'm just going to leave it like this. I do that more often and I feel like it works. So we do need a lip, of course. So I'm thinking about 2 different colors, both from Charlotte Tilbury. One is Secret Selma, which is this cool toned purple. But I don't think this is a good match. This is still a little bit too warm. So I think I'm just going to go with my classic, which is Live It Up. In the Kissing formula. This is all I have left. I am working on a replacement though. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up exactly the same one, but I kind of want a nude pink lipstick that is a little bit more nude. This one is very pink. But it does work really well with all my cool toned looks, I must say. So yeah, I'll definitely finish this up maybe before the end of the year, and then I'll see what I purchase instead of it. So this is the finished look. I really like how it came out. I'm glad I skipped the bronzer. I think this looks kind of cool for some reason. So let me know what you think of this look. Let me know what you think of the combination of the two Huda palettes. And please subscribe if you did like this video, and I will see you in the next one.